Okay. This thing's doing it automatically now. I don't understand. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host, Clay Douglas. My guest today is my friend David Kaas. And got a book out, Farm Physics. I would love to see you run for president and be able to spread this information about this water spending. Let's deal with this first. Let's deal with the water spending first, because you sent me a video. And where was that from? Was that Pakistan or?
No, that's Bosnia, Sarajevo.
Bosnia, Sarajevo. Yeah, I've got one of my guests is hiding out in that area right now. I think that he's wanted in Canada for curing people of cancer or something like that. But you know, you made a statement that your system of spinning water can cure cancer, and out of the Sarajevo there was a ceremony where people brought in plastic jugs of water into a stadium, into something like that.
Large auditorium.
Large auditorium, yes. And they brought this in, and the guy blessed the water, or did something to the water.
Well, he stood on a stage, and he used both hands to touch all of his fingers together, which makes like a big circle. Touching all your fingers, your thumbs together and all the other fingers together. And he made a big circle and walked around the stage and influenced all the water bottles that the audience was holding up. And it was amazing to me to see that video, Clay, because I thought, holy Toledo, they're doing this on the other side of the world. And these people there don't understand the physics that I've explained to you in my book and in my videos on the YouTube. But these people are going more by faith than by anything else. And their instructor is referring to Allah giving him the power to do this, while he's demonstrating this technique on stage to, I don't know how many hundreds of people it is, but there's a few.
That's
the video is called Water Idiots on the YouTube, and anybody that wants to look that up, just key in Water Idiots and watch that video, and you'd be surprised.
Now, I am not sure. You know, I've been studying all of this stuff, the occult too, for years. I came to the conclusion that the practice of magic was pretty much universal. Every society had its witch doctors, its shamans, its seers, and I couldn't see a lot of difference other than the fact that when a witch casts a spell, she utilizes more of her senses than the Christian praying. But what's the difference there? What's the difference? Whether it's somebody chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo to get what they want. The Christian going, God, I really need this Cadillac, or the witch going, blessed be. It's utilizing the same thing, getting into a connection on probably a almost a cellular level.
Well, it's utilizing one's own focus. If you want to repeat a chant for a half hour, that's one way to do it. If you want to pray with your rosary beads for an hour, that's another way to do it. You can do it in a lot of different ways, but it's the repetition of a thought or a consideration over and over and over again. And these individuals actually believe that they can do it, so they can. It's almost like magic in itself. If you believe you can do something, you can do it. It's just going to take you a while. But that's all these different ancient practices are, is just the reciting of a line continuously over and over, as well as thinking it in their heads and focusing on it.
Most people can, and this is maybe part of the mind control tool of TV. I think it disrupts the thought process. So your mind is left in a receptive position, and going to a mass worship like a church probably accomplishes the same kind of thing, doesn't it?
Right, right. Well, the television set can be used as a tool to gain intelligence for society, to keep the people all informed, or it can dumb us down and do like what you're talking about, is like mind numbing of the populace. And so it can be used either way. And at the moment it's being used negatively, as are a lot of things. The invention of the microwave oven in the 60s was a very big invention for numbing down the public.
Now, tread lightly here. We're talking about the way I get my breakfast every morning.
Well, I know some of these things that I've brought to your attention this last year, Clay, may have been a bit alarming to you, even the fact that you're drinking the wrong spun fluids from birth. And that could be attributed to cancer and a lot of different diseases which we're suffering from. It's just the fact that we're not altering the molecular spin of the fluids before we drink them. But, you know, this is stuff that you need to hear now at your age. You need to become aware of. But like I was saying, there's a lot of different reasons for this cancer that we're all dying from. That's the #1 epidemic in the world. People drop from cancer more than they drop from guns and anything else. But the reason this cancer is developing in our system is, like I said, because we're drinking the wrong molecularly influenced fluid. And it only takes about 13 seconds. Touch your 3 fingers to your thumb and hold it across from your glass for like 13 seconds. And that magnetically changes the spin of the electron in the glass. It doesn't matter whether you're drinking coffee or juice or water or anything. Just 13 seconds is all it takes. But this cancer problem that we're all suffering from, and even the children are nowadays, is all caused from these left-spun electrons, which is the opposite of the right-spun electron. They come in pairs. And in our bodies every day, when we eat food, our stomach digests the food, but it splits apart this north and south-spun electrons, and our blood only takes the south-spun electron to our cells to refuel it. All of our cells have south-spinning electrons. That north-spun electron from our stomach gets stored out on these trails on our body, or they're called meridian trails, and that's what aging effect is. That's what the quotient is for how old you are, is how much food you eat in your life and how burdened you are carrying around those left-spun electrons. So, but this cancer problem that's developed in our bodies is a real stickler. The only thing we've been able to figure out is chemotherapy to date, and that involves the poisoning of these rapidly growing cancer cells, but at the same time it also destroys the healthy cells in our bone marrow and gastrointestinal tract, and it can cause organ damage like liver, kidneys, heart, lungs. So while radiation destroys the cancer cell, it also burns our system out. So it's not really an effective way to fight this cancer. But part of the problem of cancer is how we get it, and the fact that we've got it. And it's partially from the food we're eating. It's partially we're eating it into our systems by drinking coffee and eating chocolate and all the things we love so much. They're all bad for us unless we can, realize this and put a moderate temperament on the amount of coffee we drink and the amount of chocolate we eat. And, also, milk is terrible for our systems. Drinking milk causes the body to produce mucus, especially in the gastrointestinal tract. And this cancer feeds on mucus. By cutting off milk and substituting it with unsweetened soy milk, cancer cells can be starved. So it's what we're eating. And I got all this information from the Johns Hopkins Institute about a week ago, and it's the latest update on the cancer research and whatnot. I guess they got a few new doctors working for them, and they're writing some new pieces of paper on it. But just very, very interesting how the cancer starts and how it survives and what it feeds on, that we're getting fed and told it's really good for us every day.
Now, Jerry on our chat room here is asking about what about the magnets and what about magnetics Are we utilizing that to its full advantage? And,
no, we're not. Actually, no, we're not. They should be designing the beds we sleep on so we get 8 hours of decharging our systems by reversing the magnets under the bed and excuse me, taking off this left spin charge off our bodies. There's a lot of things we can do. There's a lot of ways we can apply it too that haven't even been touched upon. But that's a very good question. But to remove that negative charge magnetically is only part of the problem. We have to stop putting this, enhancing the negative charge that we're acquiring through our food digestion every day. We got to stop doing that because that's where the cancer starts, continues, and it's taking its toll. There's just so much, Clay, that has not been talked about or discussed or even experimented with involving this negative charge, positive charge. And that's what the magic always has been. Like magicians and sorcerers and everything down through time, all they were people who understood this magnetic positive negative flux. And the rest of the people just didn't have a clue to it, and there wasn't any education around about it. So it was just a natural, so to speak. Like you're a natural at what you do, and I'll be darned that they just can't put a lid on you, So it was the same in the old days with these people that understood electricity in our bodies and how to manipulate it. How to cast a spell was just how to put a magnetic fix on someone, and they carry it around.
A little bit more than that. If you reduce yourself to a molecular level, a strand of hair on a voodoo doll gives you a direct connection to that person. I mean, I have made my roommate stop at her job running a taxi to the airport, and she stopped and called me right in front of people. I made her do that. Or urged her to do that. So you can connect through that. Every hair follicle is a exact duplicate of your DNA, so you can reach people on that kind of level. Right.
Now, one of the other things I wanted to talk about today was the things we need to avoid in our diet. I love to drink a cup of coffee in the morning, but I self-influence it now as you do, and because coffee, tea, and chocolate are very bad and they promote cancer in our systems. But green tea is a better alternative. And as you know, you probably still like, what do you drink, Coke or Pepsi?
I drink Coke, yes.
Coke, right. And
watered down considerably. I fill a cup up with ice and I sprinkle Coca-Cola over that.
Right. And that's fine too, because no one can do all these points of contention proficiently at first, but it takes a education of your mind and of your individual character, and over a while you finally quit. I smoked cigarettes for 23 years of my life until one day when I moved out here. I tried to get on a surfboard, and I tried surfing, and if you're smoking cigarettes for a long time, there's no way you're going to be on a paddle of your surfboard. So I gave that up that day and learned to stand on a surfboard and paddle. So, but you have to have the incentive to make these changes, and
I understand that. I've done cocaine before I quit when I found out that CIA was making all the money off of it.
Right.
So
right.
I really, being clean today, man, really, it's really attributable to the CIA.
Sure. No, I can understand that, and it's amazing how strong these bodies are that we're put into, and how they can recover from any situation if the proper procedures are just followed. I got plenty of friends around here that were ex-heroin addicts and ex-cokeheads, and they got off alcohol a long time ago, some of them. But if you can just make this recovery and make it to the higher ground, I think we can all survive and make it to the new existence here. there's a lot of talk recently about the conditions in the country with the snow pack still in the mountains and the rains and the storms across the Midwest from north to south, and that river, the Missouri River, the banks coming up near the nuclear reactor and whatnot, and all these negative things have all been brought about. And who's to blame? I first of all blame Mr. Obama, because he's supposed to be the main watchdog at the top of the country.
He's the one that has put a media blackout on the nuclear power plant in Nebraska.
Yep, that's exactly right. And you know, for as nice a guy as he is, his wife probably loves him, and I know his daughters love him too. He's either a dumbass or he's working with the elite, because there's no way under the sun anybody could let this go for so long, and it just kind of puts the final noose around his neck for me, because you know, one thing I never liked is being bullshitted by somebody for so long with a grin on their face all the time. You know, it's just you know, after a while I get tired of hearing the crap. So I hope everybody in the country is getting the feeling that I've gotten already, that this guy is working for the dark side.
Well, you know, I said I was fairly comfortable under being called a right-wing extremist under Clinton, but when the real right-wing extremists got into office, I guess I became a liberal. You know, I really don't know anymore. I don't see much difference between Clinton, Bush, and Obama.
Well, there isn't. Bill Clinton, in fact, got to the White House because he allowed all of that cocaine to be dropped in his steak for those years, you know, and that's the only way somebody like him could get there. You know, somebody who's as fast talking or smooth talking of a Southern boy like that. I could understand how President Carter got in there being a peanut farmer, because I couldn't believe when he took office. I thought, wow, we actually voted in somebody that is a hard worker here. But when Clinton got in with his saxophone and just started trumpeting his little tune, I didn't see anything really happen. All I saw was the house prices keep going up, and his wife standing right behind him with a big grin on her face. So
I saw Waco happen, and that's what got me involved.
Yeah, right. These kind of things happen, and nobody did anything about them. Those presidents are just sitting there smiling and talking their crap, and it's like, wait a minute. If you were the man you said you were going to be, you would get on this problem right away. You'd get on your horse and ride out there and take care of it. But no. He's still tooting his horn and grinning from ear to ear. So it's like, wait a minute. Obama's as bad as we know. We know Bush was as rotten could be. And Clinton was the same way, same character, same guy, just different painted face. But like I said, you're right. This next election, I am running on an independent ticket. That means that there's no party behind me, and there's nobody, you know, paying my bills. And I'm not sure exactly how we're going to get it out there, but I know this internet is our best tool at the moment. And I've been noticing a lot more people on your chat board lately, Clay, and it's been there's been a few of those BSers as well, 3 at a time, hitting the Blog Talk Radio board. But things are heating up. We've only got about 525 days till the next election, and thinking of it in those kind of terms, it's like, heck, I could be in jail for that long. I've
talked to a couple other people that are looking at running, and some people that have a platform but aren't going to run because they say, well, if I tried to initiate this platform, they'd just kill me. And that's what it seems like now. If we had somebody running that was wanting to do this properly and do something for the American people, you know, everybody get behind them. I'm thinking that maybe what we need to do is put the platform up and say, this is what we want. This is what we want.
Well, it's going to take more than any one person can do. It's going to take all for one and one for all, and we're all going to have to, pull together, because this is a big problem we got, and it's a big country, and it's a big world, and unless we all got to get in line, and we got to put our wills to work. But if we all do it together, it can succeed. It can succeed. Just like this country
that's the problem. Now I've analyzed this, David, to right down to how do we do this individually. Individually, when you stand alone, you can hang alone. You're vulnerable. Right. If you don't work with people in your neighborhood, in your area, in your town, in your country, then the barbarians can come in and pick you off at any time. Anytime, that's what's happened in South Africa. The farms went down because the workers invaded the farm and took it over.
Right. Well, they're trying to invade our minds over here with the television and with the crap they sell at the grocery store and the way they promote all the hamburger all over the country. They're very shrewd about how they're doing it. It even looks good right to your face. It even tastes good to your mouth.
They spend billions of dollars on marketing their vision of the utopian society, which would be the New World Order. Now we can see a new plan coming into fruition. Henceforth, we pledge allegiance to the New World Order.
Well, like and I know, that's the old world order. They still got control of everything, and they think they're going to keep it for all time. But that's where they've made that indisputable human mistake, because they're not going to keep it for any much longer. We're here, and we're announcing the coming of the new age. This is what it is. We're putting out the word right now. You might be John the Baptist. You never know, Clay.
Well, you know what? That brings up another point, David. I want you to elucidate on. You think, folks, the Bible, and I've got a lot of information about the Bible in my book, Mystery Babylon. Got a lot of that. And do you think God stopped talking to us 2,000 years ago?
Hell no. No, not at all.
I believe that, I've had preachers go, why don't we ever see you in church? And I said, do you talk to God? Does God tell you what to tell your flock? Well, yes. I said, well, me too.
Yeah. He tells a lot of people. In fact, nowadays he's speaking to us individually and telling us what's really going on.
I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing here if I didn't honestly believe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I think this is what I've been trained for. I think this is what I've been set up for. I think that's why I've been given personal access to a lot of these people we're talking about. I've shook hands with Pat Buchanan. I've met Alan Keyes. I've had lunch with presidential candidates. So
you had Jesse Ventura on your show just a couple weeks back too. That's amazing, Clay.
That's right.
That's amazing, because that guy don't go anywhere that he don't want to go. But you get it right on target. You hit the nail right on the head. You are. And I am. And there's a few more of us out there, too, that are, they say there's 100,000 of us here that if we don't get this next election, we're going to be taken in what's kind of considered the rapture or whatever, shortly following the election, that we lose. But I don't think we're going to lose. I don't think we came here with the intent of losing, and I don't think we're going to lose. In fact, what I'm going to be doing this next summer is making personal appearances across the country. I'm just going to get in an automobile and start driving and coming into small towns everywhere across the country and getting up to the microphone and just just shaking hands and whatnot.
Put a billboard on top of your car and
right.
let people know. You know.
Well, I might have a pickup truck. You never know, but just to have a stand set up in the back with a podium so I can drive into town and give my announcement, my campaign announcements. But I'm going to be getting out there in a way that nobody really has for a long, long time. That's run for president.
Now, there's a couple of avenues here. I think this is a solidarity base that we perhaps missed out on. And a normal politician wouldn't even consider this, but people like Governor Gary Johnson and Jesse Ventura and even Sheriff Richard Mack, who's running for office somewhere, have talked about legalizing or abolishing laws against victimless crimes, regrowing hemp in this country, and what about 50 million people in America that have been disenfranchised, that aren't allowed to vote anymore because they had something they shouldn't have had in their pocket?
No, that's another. There's a lot of sore points nowadays, you know, with these presidents that we elect. Because if I was elected president, first of all, I'd let all the people incarcerated for any drug offense, cocaine, heroin, whatever you want to call it. They all get out of jail. They all get the right to vote back. I can't believe that we take away a person's right to vote for the rest of their life just because they committed a crime, especially when they paid for the crime in jail, like they want them to. When they get out and they can go back to work and everything, why can't they have the right to vote back? That's absolutely unbelievable to me. And see, we've had these changes. To me, that's part of the enslavement. That's enslaved us. Yep, that's what that is. And this has been going on for like 40 years, 50 years, ever since I was born, but it's come about slowly. Every year something negative is taking place. They're changing the laws, they're changing the Constitution, and you don't notice it all at once. It's not like they hit us all with all this crap right away. It's slowly over the years, and people are getting numbed down, and they're getting, our parents or grandparents are dying off, from whatever, and so it's a whole new generation, and they just assume that this is the way things are done. Well, that's what we got to roll back and repeal, and I could see wiping out half the amendments that have been made in the last 30, 40 years, because they're all bad.
If people would go into Congress with the idea of removing laws,
right?
I think that would be a noble cause. I think that would be something we should do.
Oh yeah. Well, that's one of the attitudes I have is in my running for this office. I intend to change everything for the better, and I'm not going to do it myself. I'm going to do it with committees set up to review the problems and make the necessary changes in the policy, and that's what we're going to be about, Clay. You and me are going to be about that. We're going to change everything here for everybody. We're going to put a chicken back on every table at night. We're going to put a job back in everybody's day. We're going to give them something to do, because I'll tell you, there's nothing worse than living in a land that used to be prosperous but not even having a chicken to eat for supper. It's going to get bad before it gets good again. But we can make it good, all of us together, if we just do the right thing this next election.
Yeah, that's the other thing. This is one of the things that I talk about all the time here. Is working together. Now, if we could work together, if we could make a little community, a Liberty Village, work together, so that if we were bringing in money into that village, that everybody was being productive, everybody was working, everybody was eating right,